Hi, this is Dan Collymore, and you're listening to the V2 podcast.
Hello and welcome to the V2 Football Podcast. I'm Chris Lappin. I'm delighted to be joined on the line by Mike Delaney. How are you doing this evening, Mike?
Hello, Chris. Yeah, very well, thanks. Yeah, and yourself?
I'm very well. So, Mike is an experienced football choreographer for both film and TV. He's a freestyler pioneer and owner of sports coaching companies, Skills Academy and Select Sports Artists. So, first, I read that you played professionally. So, how did you get into the game?
Yeah, it was an unusual one actually, because I was doing a commercial years and years ago for Adidas.
Yeah.
It would have been in 1997, so it was Beckham's first Adidas shoot, as far as I was aware.
Yeah.
Gazza was on it, and Paul Ince, Zidane, and all those guys. And there was a guy there who was a technical advisor called Hansi Müller. Hansi had played for Germany in the early 80s. Sort of very well known over there. I have to admit, I didn't really know him. I knew of Gerd Müller. But Hansi was on set, and he said, "Why don't you come over to Germany and we'll just see how you get on? You know, you've got nothing to lose." I was kind of between clubs over here, semi-professional level. Yeah. And I did that, and it was a good experience. I didn't go on and make a big career from it, which was, what we were kind of hoping for.
No.
But I still had a good experience playing for German clubs, and I played half a season in Switzerland. And at the end of it all, I ended up having a spell with the England futsal team, the five-a-side team.
Yeah.
And that came after my proper playing day, so that was a nice little bonus, really. Because what happens when you're a freestyler, everyone sort of asks, well, can you play?
Yeah.
Can you take a tackle? And all those sort of questions crop up. So it's nice to at least say, well, yeah, I played. I didn't have a big career as a player, but I still played at a pretty good level.
So what was your main inspiration for getting into the freestyling?
Well, when I was young, it just didn't really exist. It was just, you'd see clips of Maradona kicking about in training. Yeah. And old footage of Pele or someone like that. So it was just a bit of fun. It was just kicking about and trying things. At the start, it was just, how many kick-ups can you do? Yeah.
I'm terrible. I can't even do one.
I find out there's someone in the year above me who could do more kick-ups, so I wanted to beat him. Yeah. And then kick-ups became a bit boring, and then you want to sort of try and do some tricks and things. But I never thought there was any kind of living in it. I remember walking up the road one evening with my pal from school days and saying, imagine if you could make a living out of football tricks, and we sort of laughed it off. And then sure enough, that's kind of what I went into doing, and now there's so many people all over the world doing freestyle shows and things.
So how did the choreography for TV come about?
Well, that happened. I work a lot now with Adidas. I think I'm pretty much their main guy for the clubs. But back in those days, this would have been sort of around 2000. I did a few Nike jobs, and they realised that I was very into the moves, like the freestyle and the moves to beat players. So they started calling me into the meetings, so like the ad agency meetings and, with the creative guys. And sometimes I'd get a bit of a blank canvas and they'd say, right, Mike, these are our players. These are, we want to come up with some moves to beat the players. And then I'd go away and figure it all out. And it just kind of evolved into a role.
Yeah.
I started to become known as a football choreographer.
Yeah, so do you have a favourite advert you've worked on?
Back in the early days, I did the Scorpion one with Eric Cantona.
Yeah.
One sort of on the ship. That was a great advert to be involved in. And I've done loads of great Adidas ones. I did one where, I don't know if you remember it, there was two little boys picking their favourite players.
Oh yeah, no,
and they picked all, Beckham and...
It's like Kaká, Defoe,
Zidane. And then they picked Platini. One of them picked Platini and one of them picked Beckenbauer. Yeah. And that was a cool advert to be involved in. We shot that in Barcelona over a couple of weeks. Yeah, that was a great one. But one that does stand out was actually one which wasn't with any of the top stars. It was for Guinness in Kenya. Yeah. And that was with a mix of lads from Nigeria and from Kenya. And it was called The Scout. It was just a very nice commercial. Guinness always do good adverts. And it had a nice sort of story to it. And it was something about working there, working with the people there. You felt so welcomed by them.
Yeah, I read that you worked with Peter Kay on an advert as well. That must have been a laugh.
Yeah, the Abbott one. So I didn't really. I kind of recognised him at the time, and he was very funny. But it was only half day. We just did half day. The ground was all muddy, and they said, right, we want you two guys to do a couple of moves and then pass it over to Peter, and he's going to boot the ball. And
was that like no nonsense?
I don't mind me saying, he missed the ball a couple of times. But it was a good laugh, and then obviously became, really well known. But it was nice to say that I worked with him.
Yeah, so you've worked with some absolute legends over the years, Beckham, Zidane, both Ronaldos. Have you ever been starstruck when you've walked into a room?
I guess I was a little bit in the early days. When I did that one in 1997, I couldn't believe what was going on. I'd got called into a casting, I'd got the shoot. I was Del Piero's double for that one. Yeah. And so we did a week or so at Crystal Palace National Sports Centre, with all the doubles. So there were no players there then. And then they selected a certain amount of us to go, and then I think it was at Brace Studios. Yeah. And so then they said, the players are coming in tomorrow. And I think at the time it was a novelty for a lot of the players because there weren't a lot of these football adverts going on. So you had guys like Gazza, Ince and Beckham, and there were so many, Delaney, all those guys, Van der Sar, and they all just seemed really pleased to be a part of it. Nowadays, although the guys are good to work with, I think it's become more like work for them, less of a novelty. So, back then it was great kicking about. You actually got to have a proper kick about with them, on set. And we do like little 3v3 matches, and I remember Paul Gascoigne going in goal, and me and Beckham hitting shots at him and stuff. And it was just so surreal. I'd come back really buzzing every day from the studio thinking that was crazy what went on today. And that was when I was more of a body double. So nowadays it's different in that I'm a choreographer. So I'm working behind the scenes. I'm still working very closely with the player, but I guess it's more of a formal role that I've got. And I've just got used to it, so I guess the novelty in a sense has worn off, but it's still pretty surreal coming home from a job thinking, I worked with Messi yesterday. It's still surreal.
Yeah, so of all the famous footballers you've worked with, who's made the biggest impression on you?
There's a few really. I've got to say, most of them have been very nice, really nice to work with. I liked Kaka. I thought he was a very genuine sort of guy. Didier Drogba came across very well, and on the pitch, some players have a certain reputation, don't they? And Drogba was one of those. I wasn't sure what he was going to be like, and I just found him very friendly. I liked Cantona. I was a big fan of him as a player.
He's my hero. So.
Was he? Yeah. I loved Cantona, and so it was great to work with him and see that he was just exactly the same. He's that kind of. He just had an aura about him. Zidane as well, very sort of easygoing guy, nice fella. And Ronaldinho, a lot of the Brazilians actually, they're all sort of fun. I like working with players who want to have a kick about, and that's what they're like. They're just up for a laugh, they want to have a kick about. I have to say, I liked Cristiano Ronaldo, another one that's got mixed reputations, but I always found him very easy to get along with. I worked with him when he was 18, and he was sort of fresh onto the scene. He'd just joined Manchester United. I remember telling him that he was the most skillful player I'd seen in the Premiership, and he just seemed chuffed, it was like talking to a young lad. You saw that he was just as pleased, even though I wasn't a manager or anything. And I enjoyed working with him over the years.
Yeah, there's a video on your YouTube channel of you having a kick about with Ronaldo. It's quite entertaining. So.
Yeah, that was on one of the ones he was sponsored by a Portuguese bank, BES, BEJ. And I did a few jobs with them, and we had a little spell there, a little bit of a freestyle kickabout.
So you've started your own skills academy. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I started that years ago. That was kind of between my playing days, so I was backwards and forwards between the German clubs. Yeah. And when I had a little bit of a down spell, I thought, I'm going to set up something here. I think I can do something good with the coaching. I'd done it as work experience. I'd got qualified. I knew that I enjoyed working with the kids. And, I didn't really know where it was going to take me, but so I started that in 1998, I think it was, and now we have about 2,000 children every week coming through our sessions, after schools, Saturday mornings, holiday camps, all sorts. And I have about 20 coaches that I work with, and it's turned into less maybe coaching the kids and more coaching the coaches or working with the guys.
Yeah.
But I still do enjoy sessions where I work with the kids as well. I miss that. I would miss it if I wasn't doing that.
So in the wider youth game, do you still think it's a bit too results based?
Yeah, it's all it's all down to people's attitudes, I think. And I think it is it is changing, and people are thinking about that more. But you still are going to encounter people who just say no. It's got to be about winning. My feeling is that children naturally want to win. They don't go out to a game not wanting to win.
No.
And I just think that the atmosphere has to be right for them. If there's too much pressure at too much of a young age and it's too serious, and the atmosphere is a bit too hostile or a bit too unfriendly, I think it puts people in their shell, and then children don't try things. They don't try to express themselves. They're then reluctant to be creative in case they make a mistake. And football, it's a game of mistakes. The players can only learn from making mistakes, I think, and it's just about us as coaches and parents just guiding them along and trying to help them and understanding that's just a part of the game. People make mistakes.
So what are the common mistakes that you see in kids when they're trying to learn the freestyle?
When they're trying to learn freestyle, maybe that they try moves. They try intricate moves when they haven't quite got the basics.
No.
There's a very good freestyler, a great guy, Magnus. He's got his own show, and I've known him since years back. There's been a lot of brilliant freestylers come through in recent years, but Dan's one of the old school ones, and unlike myself, he's still doing it. I still do a few bits, but Dan's still performing all over the place, and he always says about how you've got to get the basics, you've got to have all-round control of the ball. And I don't know if you remember a guy called Mr. Wu from Korea. I used to work very closely with him when he lived in the UK.
Yeah.
And he had incredible control of the ball, and I still don't know if I've really seen that from anyone. I've seen some amazing tricks, and some of the things they do, the freestylers, it's just incredible. I would never have expected to see some of that stuff. But for all-round control and mastery of the ball, Mr. Wu, I think he's still up there.
Yeah. Right, so you also run Select Sports Artists. Is that like a sports talent agency?
Yeah, it is really, yeah. For a long time, when I was doing the commercials, the production teams would say to me, "Oh, Mike, have you got a double for so-and-so?" Or, Ronaldo, for example, or any of these guys, Beckham.
Yeah.
And so I would provide guys that I knew of that would fit the bill for these certain players. And after a while, I just thought I should set it up more officially, because I know so many guys through football and sport, and if we hold casting days and get them along, and I've got the right contacts, obviously, through doing the commercials and with the production teams. So, yeah, I've built that up, and we don't just have footballers on the books, we have all sorts of sports people, men and women, runners, tennis players, rugby players, all sorts. So, yeah, whenever a commercial crops up where they need specialists or body doubles, then, yeah, we like to think that we can provide them.
Okay, I've got a couple of listeners' questions. So, David James asks, have you ever been asked to do a skills training session with a professional club?
No, I've not.
No.
We had a link at one time with the Skills Academy with Charlton.
Yeah.
And I think back then when we first took it on, I guess I did expect to be doing something along, close to that. But it never materialised. I don't quite know why. I think we were just both busy doing the community side of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is one of those things that I expected to do at some point, and maybe I still will. But up until then, I'll just carry on with the Skills Academy stuff and the ads.
Yeah, and Rachel Kinney asks, are the balls you use in some of your tricks weighted?
No, a few people have asked me that actually over the years. Like when I've done freestyle shows, people tend to come up and they want to touch the football and feel what it's like and see if it's different. Every freestyler has their own preference. I always quite like the normal match ball, like a good quality one. I do feel the difference. But a lot of guys, I think they like the ball very soft, but I just have it kind of normal pressure, just a normal ball.
Yeah. Alright, so before we go, do you want to plug your social media?
Well, yeah, on that stuff, anyone who wants to follow,